It's Ginny with LearnWithGinny.com, and we're on our 50th broadcast. I can't believe it. So if you're live, and even if you're not live, make sure that you chime in and say hi. And if you see me glancing back and forth or down, it's because I have Facebook Live over here and I have my HD recording over here, just in case you can't hear me. I don't have my earbuds in, so I want to make sure that you can hear me over there on Facebook. So today I want to talk about the psychology of selling. And where I got this from is from Ben Settle's speech at Ray Higdon's event that I went to last month. And I really wrote out this blog post for me and for you because I'm no marketing expert. And I kind of needed to go over this material to absorb it and to figure out how I want to use it. And hopefully you can do the same and get something out of each of these triggers, of each of these villains. And it's pretty interesting because what Ben does is he uses these villains. He calls it the rogue gallery. And the reason why I'm looking down, I forgot to tell you that part, is because I have notes down here, okay? So I don't want to miss something because these are actually from my notes. So again, if you're live, make sure you chime in and say hi and tell me where you're from and what you're up to. And if you're watching the recording, do the same. Go ahead and comment and let me know what pieces of information you're going to use in your marketing. And if you're not marketing, I'd like to know what I can do to help you get started. So just let me know. Okay, so I'm going to go through this rogue gallery of Ben's and these triggers because, you know, people are emotional buyers. People buy based on emotion. If they're feeling insecure about being overweight, they buy the weight loss products. Okay, that's just I use weight loss as an example a lot because it's really easy to come up with those ideas. So if you're in the weight loss industry, you know, use the ideas that you hear, because I do find that a lot of marketers use weight loss as an example. I think it's because it's the easiest to come up with. You know, the weight loss is a huge industry. So it's easy to come up with those examples. Anyway, moving on. So you can use this marketing psychology in your parenting too, moms. And the way you do it is you tap into the emotions. Now this is powerful stuff. So make sure that you don't abuse it, because you know, you don't want to scare the crap out of your kids, but you do want to scare them sometimes because life is... Anyway, I'll tell you some stuff as we go along. So the number one villain in his rogue gallery is pain. And your product will offer a solution to someone's pain. If you're in the network marketing industry, for example, there are people that are at jobs that they just despise and they want a way out. So you have a solution to their pain. If you're in the weight loss industry, again, I love those examples. If you have weight loss products, you have a solution to their pain. Use physical pain like this to teach your kids. I might describe, dying from a heart attack or something like that to my kids, to explain to them why they need to develop healthy habits at an early age, because it's easier to develop those habits when you're young. I remember when I was a kid, there was a driver's ed video that I still remember. I mean, that was very vivid, and that's physical pain that I wanted to avoid. So I drove like an old lady when I first got started driving because I was scared. So that is another one that I'll get to. It's number 3, I think. But number 2 is insecurity. People obsess over their insecurities. And, Ben mentions in his speech, he says that you shouldn't build a bigger mousetrap, you should build more terrifying mice. Tap into the insecurities that you know that your audience has. People are insecure, for example, about their weight. It should be easy to point out those insecurities and get them on board with your weight loss program, right? So, I do actually have a weight loss product. Why haven't I tapped into that? I don't know. I should write a new ad today. So, if that makes sense, tap into their insecurities. People are insecure about the way they look. For example, one heading that he mentioned was, my husband is embarrassed by my size. Can you imagine the emotion that you're tapping into if you're reaching a customer or a prospect that feels that way? Marketing psychology, villain number 3, emotional pain. This is similar to, the pain that we just described, but emotional pain is worse than physical pain. And if you're emailing your list every day, Ben says this kind of pain will make them addicted to your emails. If you, for example, that was actually that weight loss example that I just gave you, where my husband is embarrassed of my size, is actually an excellent way to tap into that emotional pain. That's a highly emotional thing. So, villain number 4 is loneliness. I hope I'm making sense of all these because, that's what I'm trying to do for you and for me. So, loneliness. Did you know that loneliness actually makes you sick? We are social beings. So, loneliness actually affects you on a cellular level and actually affects your health. So, if you go on the post and read, I linked to some articles in there about that, so you can find out more details if you want. But the example that Ben uses is he was selling a golfing product, a golf course, I believe, or was it a subscription? I think it was a subscription. But the headline he used was, "Nobody cares about your hole-in-one." He's tapping into that social, into our being social beings, into our not wanting to be lonely. We want people to care about our accomplishments. Your kids want you to care about their accomplishments. How often do you hear them say, "Mom, look at me. Mom, look what I did today. Read my poem," or whatever it is. They always want to show their accomplishments to you, and they want you to be proud of them. So as far as your kids go, I say tap into that by giving them some praise and saying, "Wow, that's really great. I like the way you blah, blah, blah." Don't just say, "Good job," by the way. And this is a little extra parenting tip that I read in, I don't remember which book, but I read lots of books, so I can't remember which one. And if I do, I'll tell you. If you ask me, I'll find out. But this psychologist basically said, don't just say "good job." It's kind of, I don't know what the word is. Just say things like, point out good things about what they did. Like if it is a poem, like my son wrote, I'm like, "Wow, I love the way you tapped into the emotions of the reader, because this, is really interesting, and it really got to me," right? Stuff like that. He's working on another project, and I can tell him how neat it is because he's a very neat person, just like his dad. So that's enough personal stuff. Getting into number 5, which is anger, betrayal, and outrage. If you tap into their anger equals action. Anytime you get into something that makes them angry, they will act, because anger makes action. It's a very, very high level emotion, and it'll move them. So, I mean, think about it, okay? When you're browsing Facebook and you see somebody's rant about something that makes you angry that you agree with, don't you get sucked in and you're reading it and you get distracted from whatever you were working on because you went and looked on Facebook? That's an example of tapping into that anger. So you can use that. Number 6 is fear. And all of us, everyone, every being feels fear. And it motivates into action just as much as anger does, if not more so. Now I did find an article on this one that you might want to go to on my blog. I linked to it, and it actually talks about, whether using fear is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm going kind of long today. I have a lot on this blog post, so make sure you go read it because I might have missed something. And I'll just give you an example. I'm afraid of growing old and not being able to walk and hike and run and bike and all the things that I love to do. And that's a fear. So that could be a good trigger for me to buy workout videos and stuff like that, because I don't like going to the gym either. I just gave you some excellent examples that you can use in your ads if you're in the weight loss niche. Again. So number 7, the last one, is frustration. Frustration actually causes anger, fear, loss of self-esteem, and self-confidence, if you think about it. Ben mentions browsing e-zine articles to learn about what your prospects are frustrated about. I've also found that if you go into those Facebook groups where you see people ranting and raving about their frustrations, or on forums, you can find those ideas too. What are they frustrated about? Because you can tap into that frustration and you have a solution. So that's it. Buying is an emotional thing. So if you can tap into those emotions, you can trigger them buying from you. I hope that makes sense. Please go ahead and comment and share. Go to the blog post and check out my products page where you'll find free training. And go to LearnWithGinny.com/bootcamp if you want to get into my 10-day course that I have for you out there. So make it a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.